stereo.
Hey, one or two people have been ringing to find out how Burnley did playing their game tonight in Southend against Southend United. Allow me to tell you that they won 3-2. Yes, everybody was surprised. No more surprised than Burnley. However, Burnley won 3-2 against Southend. Apparently somebody called Alan Taylor, who, judging on the information I've got before me, is a Burnley player, scored a hat-trick, which I'm told means he scored 3 goals. The consequence of that is that he obviously scored them all. Anyway, that comes from the newsroom, so there you are. Burnley won 3-2. And you might wonder why I question the information from the newsroom. Well, I can tell you, you can't believe all that you hear on the news. For example, the other week we heard all about them vol-au-vents from Marks and Spencer's. I went out and bought Vicky dozens of them and she didn't die. She wasn't even sick. Proving there's no justice.
Here's the latest news from John Wilding. First, the bad news. The Ford Motor Company have increased the price of new Fords. But now here's the good news. John Wilding can still offer you new Ford cars at the old prices. An offer as good as this can only last for a short amount of time. So rush over to see the amazing deals John Wilding has to offer you. New Fords at old prices for a limited period only at Fairview Garage, Garstang.
When you think about cars, it pays to think of John Wilding. John Wilding! Allan Beswick.
Welcome back, just after 5 minutes past 11. If you want to join us on the phone in, you're welcome. Honest. Preston 561,000 is the number.
Red Bull Stereo.
I'll do Andrew. Andrew has his radio on. The guy must be a prat. I'll do Ralph. Are you going to speak, Ralph? Do you have the ability to speak?
Hello?
Oh, well done. What do you want?
In our area, in pub car parks, the police have been marking the cars with ink you can't see with your naked eye, right?
Continue.
Yeah. Do you think that's fair? Because they're wearing special glasses to see it and they're stopping people down the road. I don't think that's fair. I think it should be a random check.
What do you mean you think it should be a random check?
Well, it should be a random check.
What area do you live in?
Cheshire.
You live in Cheshire?
Yeah.
Do the police own up to this practice?
Yeah.
They do?
Well, it's a well-known fact.
I didn't ask you that, did I? Would you like to confine your little mind to the question at hand? Do the police own up to this practice?
No.
I've got this interesting vision. We have policemen sneaking round public house car parks, presumably at night, marking cars with some invisible ink.
Yeah.
And they're wearing special spectacles and presumably seeing the car hurtle down the road with their special spectacles in the dark and seeing this invisible ink with their special spectacles in the dark. Why don't they just take the numbers? Which, you see, proves to me, Ralph, that you've either been severely misled, that you're a total and utter gullible idiot, or a liar. Now, which is it?
I'm not sure. I think I'm a liar.
I see. Goodbye.
Where?
You must think I'm a sucker. How do, Michael?
Hello, I'd like to talk about the miners' pay dispute. Is that okay?
About the what?
The miners' pay dispute that went on about
the
12 months ago.
Strike that
that's
lasted for a year.
Yeah, that's the one. Well,
why did you not ring us when it was on?
Well, I didn't know you existed, Alan.
You didn't, so you've just discovered it now, have you?
I discovered you about a week ago, Alan.
And you have this pressing urge to talk about something that ended some 7 months ago.
Yeah, it's terrible, Alan.
It may well be. Let us hear it anyway.
Well, I'd like to know how Scargill had the ability to bring out all the miners on strike. Because he didn't take a ballot or anything, did he? And that's
well, it's a very simple question to answer, Michael. I'm surprised that you haven't managed to glean it from all the newspapers that it was printed in, and all the television interviews he said it on, and all the radio interviews he said it on, but maybe you've been on another planet. There are those that would say you perhaps belong on another planet. However, the reason Mr. Scargill, or to be more accurate, the Mine Workers Union's executive, had the right and power to bring their members out on strike without a ballot was because earlier they had taken a ballot, some months earlier, I concede, but nevertheless, earlier they'd taken a ballot and asked their membership whether, in the next round of pay dispute, or pay negotiations, if it went into dispute, whether they should bring them out on strike. And the answer then was yes. They were given a very clear mandate that they wanted to strike. Not at the time, but prior to it.
All
So
right.
that is the answer to your question.
Right, thanks, Blob.
How do Robin?
How do you do? I have a house full of children listening to you. Would you wish Justin a happy birthday for me, please?
I certainly will not. This is not a dedication programme.
Why?
Don't be sorry. Listen carefully and then you'll find out. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about hypocrisy.
Sure you would.
Hypocrisy is spending hours on a sunbed to attain a beautiful bronze tan, then phoning Allan Beswick to complain about coloured people. This has been Ben, your coffee-coloured...
How do Simon?
Hello, Alan. You know your views on people from Formby and merchant tailors.
Of course I know my view. What a stupid question. How do Peter?
Oh, I'm ringing in about this razor I got at Christmas, my wife, and it will do something up with it.
Off your what?
A razor,
From whom?
off my wife,
Your wife?
yeah.
You have to be older than you are to get married, child. Don't come on here trying to take the mickey out of me when you're a mere child. Go and change your nappy or something. Hello, Jennifer. Oh, God, it's her. We're not having none of that. How do Paul?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about the apparitions of Mary, the Mother of God, in Yugoslavia.
Well, go ahead, then.
Right. Well, she's been appearing in a village, and it's called Medjugorje, and it's not far from Dubrovnik. She's been appearing to some children. It all started in 1981 when 6 children started having visions of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and 4 of the children are still seeing her every day, you see. And these children, they all say that they see Mary like any other person, and they say they speak with her and pray with her, and they can touch her. And the Virgin's come, she's saying that she's the Queen of Peace, and that she says world peace is in crisis. She wants everyone to turn back to God by praying and by being converted within themselves, having faith, by saying prayers, fasting and doing penance. The visionaries, they're all getting secrets. They're not allowed to tell anyone what the secrets are until Our Lady says they can, you see. And so far, originally there were 6 children seeing Our Lady, and now there's only 4 because when they received a total of 10 secrets, they stopped seeing her. And so far, 2 of the children have had 10 secrets, and they've stopped seeing it except on the birthdays because she's still appearing to them on the birthdays. And these other 4, so far, 3 of them have got 9 secrets, 1 of them's got 8 secrets. And I went...
You make it sound like a board game.
Well, no.
The objective of which is to obtain secrets. However, go on.
Well, you can tell it's true because there's been over 200 cures, and these are all fully documented.
Paul, you can tell it's true.
Yeah, because I went there in...
well, indeed. But whether you go there or not, it is possible to accept it as true or false. It really doesn't require a visit, although a visit obviously will help you glean more information. However, the desire for it to be true is the greatest draw and the greatest attraction to anyone believing it to be true.
Well, I don't know, because a lot of people are really sceptical about this sort of thing, you know, and they want to go and see for themselves just out of, you know, thinking, not knowing what to think. Maybe a lot of people have been skitting it and they've gone there and found what an amazing place it is. Like, a lot of people, when I went, a lot of people have had signs like they've seen the sun spinning and dancing in the sky, and the cross on top.
Paul, I once saw the sun spinning, but it was rather more as a result of 14 pints of Newcastle Brown than anything else.
Yeah, well...
I do appreciate that you're not suggesting people were drunk, and neither am I, but what I am suggesting is that people are very, very easily very easily bluffed. Not by other people who have as an objective to bluff them, but merely because they believe something, they have the power to convince others. People are very gullible. I'm not.
Yeah, but so far about 3 million people have been there, so I don't think you could say that 3 million people have been fooled.
Millions of people have passed through the waters of Lourdes. Most of them are still suffering the illnesses they took with them.
Yeah.
So to say millions of people have been there really isn't enough, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that everyone who goes there gets cured of something or
No, you're saying that everyone that goes there believes it.
Well, I'd say that most people do. Well, certainly myself.
Well, fine. Paul, I'm perfectly happy for you to believe it. All right?
Yeah.
And we'll settle for that.
Yeah, but if she is appearing there, well, surely you've got to admit that God
Paul,
exists.
if she's appearing there, then yes, I have to admit God exists. However, she is not appearing there, as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah, but
because, Paul, she does not exist, in my view.
Well, what about all the tests that have been done on the children?
I don't care about all the tests that have been done on the children, because, I'm sorry, there is no test known to man that can prove the existence of a God.
Okay then, but what are the children doing every day by just, like, the visions are lasting about a minute every day, and what are they doing then, just looking at nothing?
They could so easily be looking at their own imaginations.
You're suggesting a hallucination?
I'm suggesting possible hallucination.
Well, if they've been hallucinating for well over 4 years now and remains healthy, well, that must be a miracle in itself.
That's a ludicrous position to adopt, because you seem to be implying that people who hallucinate are eventually going to become unhealthy. I wonder why you think that. Perhaps, Paul, your definition of healthy is dubious. Perhaps what we need to look at is someone who believes in an all-powerful God, bothering not to come down and change the world within his or her power, but to actually do it through 10 little children, and doing this ludicrous board game type theory of issuing 10 secrets. Perhaps everyone that believes that is mentally deficient. You see, there are many ways of looking at what you suggest to be a vision. There's a lovely story of, I think it was in Ireland, I may be wrong, but there's a statue in Ireland that weeps. And millions of people have visited that statue and watched it weep. It has tears on it.
Yeah.
And it was discovered quite recently that those tears were put there by the parish priest. And millions of people believed it.
Well, I've heard of other cases where statues have been shedding tears and those tears have been analysed as actual tears.
Indeed.
Like there's been a case.
Of course, there are many cases, but to put them down to an all-powerful, all-seeing, supernatural God is your right and your privilege. But don't expect others to do it. The one thing that pigs me off about religion is it cons its people, whatever the religion, be it those ludicrous Jehovah's Witnesses that let babies die, or be it those kind of people in the Middle East that go in for female, not castration, the other one, circumcision. They go through all that garbage, the male circumcision of the Jewish faith, and all those people mutilating their own bodies for their God. I have never heard so much garbage in my life, and that kind of thing sickens me. And the thing that sickens me above all is the fact that those who've got the God believe they've got to inflict it on somebody else.
Yeah, but they might think that for a reason.
I don't give a damn whether they think it for a reason or not. I think they ought to worship their God in their own way, providing it does no harm to anybody else.
Yeah, but if you believe in God, he wants everyone to...
I honestly, yes, Paul, as I said a few seconds ago, the thing that sickens me about religions, not about God, not about faith, but about religions, is they all, every single one of them, be they some religion created to make Ian Paisley look religious, or yet a religion like the Muslim, not the Muslims, the Moonies, those people actually tell their followers that they must convert others to their religion if they wish to attain their nirvana and their heaven. It's balderdash, absolute balderdash, and it is just a disgraceful con.
But I saw people coming. I saw lads there who'd come from all over, lots of miles, all over Yugoslavia, and to look at them, you think they'd be beating up old women on the street, but they were coming there and just praying, saying the rosary and doing things like that.
And that is a wonderful thing, Paul. I'm very happy for them.
Yeah, but they were doing that for a reason.
I know they were doing it for a reason, Paul, but their reason, as far as I'm concerned, is misguided.
Yeah, but the people in
Look, Paul, I'm sorry. Just because millions of people believe something doesn't mean it's right. Until recently...
Yeah, well, there's a lot of reasons why.
Listen, until recently, this world was flat on your theory. Now, when did it become round? Listen, Paul, when did it become round? When did the world turn into a globe instead of being a flat thing?
I don't know. I didn't phone up to talk about that.
No, you didn't. You phoned up to talk about something else. You phoned up to use millions of beliefs as being a reason for following them. Well, I'm sorry, it's not enough. Millions of people, in fact, virtually everybody on the planet, believe the world to be flat. Every single one of them was wrong. Yep. I believe every single one that believes in a supernatural God is just as wrong, but they don't find out till they're dead.
Perhaps. But I myself, can I speak for myself?
You have done, over and over again.
When I went to that village, I saw the way the people were living. There was no swearing at all in the village.
Garbage, Paul. I will listen to your sensible statements. I will not listen to your buffoonery. That village is not some sanctimonious sanctuary. I'm sorry, it isn't. There are people in that village that do terrible things to their wives and husbands, children, mothers. That village is the same as every other village on this globe. I don't care. There is nowhere that we have the perfect mankind. Paul, it is not being ignorant. It is not allowing you to try to put your misconceptions onto me.
I don't think you can.
If you believe in the perfect human, Paul, then you are nothing but an idiot. There is no such thing.
Well, how can you judge that village having not been there yourself?
I'm sorry, I do not care.
You're saying it's just
I am saying, Paul, that all collections of mankind have amongst them sinners.
Yeah, it's true.
Right, including that village.
Yeah, true, but...
Right, well, that was what you tried to deny just a few seconds ago. Now, don't play games with me, Paul. You believe in God, you have that right, I defend that right, and I'm happy for you to do so, but don't try and shove it up my nose, all right?
I'm not trying to.
Good. Then good night.
Good night, Alan. Bye.
How do, Colin?
Hello, Alan. I've had a friend who's just returned from South Africa. He's a black friend. And he had a story going around the prisons. There was a man, 2 white men, and a black man in the same prison cell. And one of the white man said to the white man...
Well, first of all, Colin, your friend has been lying to you, or else you're trying to tell me some kind of racist joke. They have segregated prisons in South Africa. Goodbye.
This is a special announcement for all small business owners in Lancashire who don't realise the implications of the new VAT rules. If you're not fully aware of the new legislation, you could become liable for some unexpected and severe penalty payments. It's for this reason that one of the country's most respected chartered accountants, Deloitte, in association with Red Rose Radio, will hold a seminar on value-added tax on Wednesday, February the 5th at 7:30 p.m. The venue is the Novotel, just off Junction 29 on the M6 motorway at Walton Summit, Preston. The seminar will deal with all the new penalties and will demonstrate ways in which the planning and structuring of transactions can result in the improvement of cash flow. We'll also answer any questions you may have regarding VAT. If you'd like to attend this very important evening, write to Carol Jemson at Red Rose Radio. The address is St Paul's Square, Preston, PR1 1YE, enclosing a cheque for £5.75. You'll then receive a fact sheet, programme and an invitation, and you can of course call in to Red Rose Radio reception. Make sure your company isn't penalised by the new rules.
Red Rose Radio address for you again, in case you're interested in joining that seminar, or indeed if you want a signed photograph of me, for which you must send a stamped address envelope, or for that young lad that wanted the address a little earlier. It's Red Rose Radio, P.O. Box 301, Preston, PR1 1YE, that being the postcode, of course. If you want to join us on the phone in, the number's Preston 561,000. The lines are currently all engaged. How do, Peter?
Off.
Okay, I will beep off. Ta-ra.
Ta-da.
How do Karen?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
Can you tell me, please, when you was on Brookside, who was you?
Well, I wasn't anyone you'd recognise. I've been on Brookside in 3 different guises, each of which have been walk-on parts, which are non-speaking parts. I was a picket on the chemical factory. I've been a taxi driver that brought Karen home from her holidays just before the siege started.
Yeah.
And I was a journalist just after the siege started. Start that again. Just after the siege ended, all right? And I was a journalist banging on the door of the house where the siege took place.
I thought you might have been Alan. You know Alan that lived with Samantha and then they moved to Arab or somewhere?
Oh, yeah, no, that wasn't me. No, I'm not quite as big as him. Not quite as big as him. He was good, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was alright.
He was alright. Are you a Brookside fan?
Yes, Sam.
So am I. Hey, what about that girl that Barry's brought with him, sort of?
Pardon?
What about the girl that...
Yeah.
She's a bit weird, isn't she?
Yeah, she looks a bit funny as well, doesn't she?
She does. She looks the time. I feel sorry for the actress, really. She looks like that.
I feel sorry for Teddy as well.
Yeah, no, she's selling it to anyone for dope. It just reminds everybody what that disgusting stuff does to you.
Yeah, alright, Sam.
Okay?
Right.
Ta-ra. How do Chris?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I think mods and rockers fighting is bad.
Well, you're right, aren't you?
Well, have you any opinions on it?
Well, I'm hardly going to defend it. As far as I'm concerned, any 2 people or groups of people fighting is not only bad, but wrong and unnecessary.
Well, do you think mods and the up-to-date trend now fighting is right?
I've just told you what I think about all forms of fighting, Chris. All forms of fighting.
Do
There
you
is
think that it's good for the up-to-date
nothing
trend?
is... I'm sorry, Chris, I'm sorry. I do not approve of fighting. Now, if you get your kicks by fighting, that merely proves to me that you are a subnormal. Goodbye.
Yes.
I'll do Sheridan.
Good evening, Mr. Beswick.
Oh, good grief. Hello, Sheridan.
I'm sorry, but I missed your New Year's resolutions program. I wanted to tune in, actually. Only I've rung up to tell you about my New Year's resolution.
Go on, then.
And that's to try to be a little bit nicer towards the unemployed. I mean, I've had a slight grudge in the past, I must admit, towards the working class in general. I shall from now on be well-disposed towards them, as long as they agree to work as servants for a pittance wage, like in the old days, and as long as they remain in their own class by leaving the arts to the aristocracy. And if they don't, my New Year's resolution will be to try to take some decisive action towards reintroducing the feudal system, Mr. Beswick. Good night.
Good night, Sheridan. It's nice to know that nothing changes. I'll do to somebody on line 6 whose name I didn't hear. It's Adam.
You fat cretin?
Yes, I know. Is that it?
Yeah.
Very good, thank you. Adam, the fastest runner in the world, seeing as how he was first in the human race. I'll do Simon.
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
Yeah. Why do you like Albion Market? Because it's far better than Brookside and the others.
Do you really believe that?
Yeah.
I suggest you seek medical attention immediately. I'll do Jim.
How do you do, Alan? I'd like to talk about you.
Feel free.
Yeah, well, do you remember in your school days when they used to lock you up in a cupboard
Go on.
at St Anne's School?
St Anne's?
Yeah, Middleton.
Middleton? I didn't go to St Anne's School in Middleton, sadly.
No? Well,
No.
there must be another Allan Beswick
There
then.
must be, who's probably now got claustrophobia. I went to St Benedict's School in Warrington, where they didn't lock you in a cupboard. We had nuns as our teachers. They used to beat the stuff out of you.
Yeah, well, there's Allan Beswick at this school I used to go.
Well, I'm sure there's a number of Allan Beswicks around.
Vedder.
Yes?
When he used to be an naughty boy, we used to lock him in cupboard.
Well, that's a very cruel thing to do, James. But it wasn't me you were locking in the cupboard.
Okay, then.
All right.
Ta-ra.
Perhaps it was Mike Harding. He went to a school in Middleton. I'll do David.
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I was just thinking about the advances that British Telecom are making now. I wonder, are your programmer go on now, like with these two-way talking, with phones, you can look at the person you're talking to over the phone.
Oh, the visual thing.
Yeah.
Have they got that yet?
No, it's not far away though. They have got an experimental stage.
I'm sure when it comes, we'll have one.
Yeah, I was thinking,
once they've sorted it
are you
all.
going to show with it though? All these people popping up one after the other.
I think it'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
I know what will happen when it finally arrives. If it ever does, we'll end up, and a lot of people have got them, we'll end up with programmes not dissimilar to this, late night on TV.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about your phoning now, like, you know. I mean, I haven't heard from Dick, who's always sitting with his doodah out, and, you know what I mean? I'd like to meet that Christine who put that one over on the programme. Would you like to meet her? Christine, S-H-I-O-N.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, you know, like, you can see the people you're talking to, actually.
Well, I can't.
No, but you will be able to do if you got it.
I may be able to, yes.
Yeah. But she'd be like that Christine who come with that S-H-I-O-N who had us all up that night looking through the dictionary.
Oh, that, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, good grief, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I could then go out and look for her, attack her with a brick hammer or something.
Yes, well, yeah, if you were lucky, you'd get there first, because I think there are about
There are a few of us.
Yeah, I really tried that now. I just stopping off listening to it. I thought, I'll listen to the next call and I'm going away.
That's right. And you've gone scatty with that.
Yeah,
Well,
that's it. Got the dictionary out, went through all the lot, and I thought, hellfire.
They're into another. Never mind.
No,
anyway, David, it will be a marvellous idea when it... well, it is a marvellous idea. It'll be a great thing when it finally gets here. Whether many people will be able to afford them or not, because the way things are going, they'll all be on the dole because of the technology that they're creating. I really don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see. All right?
Yeah, that's true
Cheers.
enough, but...
You've run out of things to say. Never mind.
No,
Try
no,
good night. Well, I have then. Good night. I'll do Brian.
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I wonder if you could help me. Once someone's passed the driving test, how long is it before they can sit with somebody, a learner driver like?
They can do it as soon as they've acquired a full licence.
Oh.
So they cannot do it with the pass certificate. They have to exchange the provisional licence with the pass certificate for a full licence. And once they've gained the full licence, they can then accompany a learner driver. They cannot give lessons for money. For that, nobody can do that other than those who are approved by the Department of Transport.
Oh, so a 17-year-old who's passed can actually sit with a driver provided he's got his full licence?
Providing he has a full licence. All you have to have as a learner driver when driving is a provisional licence, and you have to have a qualified driver, a full licence holder, as your guide, as it were.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right.
Bye.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
I'll do, Andrew.
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I was reading about the councils in Liverpool today, trying to get rid of racist jokes, and there's something I'd like to bring up.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you brought it up. It's the best part of you that exists. Hello, Richard.
Hello.
Too young. Too young. Come back when you're 16, should you ever manage to achieve that astronomical number.
Here's the latest news from John Wilding. First, the bad news. The Ford Motor Company have increased the price of new Fords. But now here's the good news. John Wilding can still offer you new Ford cars at the old prices. An offer as good as this can only last for a short amount of time. So rush over to see the amazing deals John Wilding has to offer you. New Fords at old prices for a limited period only at Fairview Garage, Garstang.
When you think about cars, it pays to think of John Wilding. John Wilding!
I'll do Darren.
Hey, Alan.
Hmm?
I was wondering if I could have a bit of advice, please.
What about?
Well, right. There's a couple of my mates and me, right? And we crashed his car. And the only person who doesn't know about it is my dad, you see. Like, and he was his car, see, so I wanted to know, like, if he could, like, press charges against me because I'm his son, you see.
What charge would he be wanting to press, do you think?
Yeah, like, he didn't know I had the car, so I thought perhaps he...
So you took the car without your father's permission?
Yeah.
He could have you prosecuted for taking a vehicle without the owner's consent.
Yeah,
he could also sue you for the value of the damage you caused.
Yeah. So, like, it would be theft then, wouldn't it?
No. Theft is a greater crime than taking a vehicle without the owner's consent.
Yeah.
You didn't steal the car, you only borrowed it without permission.
Yeah. And
That's
I'm
rather
underage
different.
as well, you see.
I'm sorry?
I'm only 16 still as well.
Then you're some kind of idiot, as far as I can see. But Darren, the answer to that is yes, your father could have you prosecuted. He needs only report it to the police. And quite honestly, I feel it would be a very sensible thing to do. You deserve punishing.
Oh. All right then.
Goodbye. How do Ian?
It's with regard to a call you had on earlier about the religious bumfluff in Yugoslavia.
Well?
Well, what it is, my girlfriend's a Catholic, and she received the same sort of leaflets through the post about this apparition in Yugoslavia. And I think that these sort of leaflets only serve to confuse young people, you know, trying to drag people into the Catholic Church or whatever church it is, whether it be Jehovah's Witnesses or Methodists. We were thinking of getting married, but she claims that she can't marry me now because it's against her religion to marry someone that's C of E.
In actual fact, that isn't altogether true. Your girlfriend has been misled by somebody. It is
leaflets, I think, Alan, myself.
Well, I don't know whether the leaflets actually cover the subject of marriage, but allow me to tell you that, as far as I'm aware, and I was brought up within the Catholic faith, that it isn't impossible, it certainly isn't regarded as totally wrong for a Roman Catholic to marry a non-Catholic, provided, and there are certain provisions, both parties have to undertake, if I remember correctly, have to undertake to allow the children to be brought up in the Roman Catholic faith.
Yeah, which I really couldn't agree to.
Well, right, so we're taking it now a stage further. If you have no desire to bring your children up in the religion of your wife, then I think you both need to sit down and talk about your relationship before you start considering anything to do with religion.
Yeah. Well, the point with that is, I believe that really they should be allowed to be brought up as Christians.
Ian, you have every right to believe what you like, but you have no right to impose that belief on a woman. Equally, that woman has no right to impose her belief on you. It seems to me that the two of you need to sit down and discuss the possibility of a future together.
Well, the thing with her, I think she's terrified at the moment that if she does do something like that, you know, that she'd be struck dead by a bolt of lightning or something.
Well, if she believes that, then fine, that is her right. She has the right to believe that. I think you're overstating what she believes. I don't honestly believe that your girlfriend believes she'll be struck by a bolt of lightning if she doesn't obey the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church, because there are so many people around her that don't obey all the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church and are still stood there and haven't been frizzled by lightning. So if she does believe that, then she's got some kind of mental problem. I doubt that she does believe that. I think she just believes that it would be wrong. And in her eyes, it would be wrong. Therefore, it would be wrong, because right and wrong, in religious matters certainly, is a private thing. Now, I repeat, I can't stress strongly enough that what you need to do is the two of you need to sit down together and sort it out, because neither of you have the right to bring children into the world together when you can't even get your own ideas sorted out.
Yeah. Well, the point is, Alan, I think they should be given the freedom to choose themselves.
That is your belief. But that is an imposition to someone who believes otherwise.
Very strongly, I suppose, yeah. It's just, I think, you know, a lot of those leaflets, though, that the young lad was going on about earlier, really, they do serve to confuse young people, and I think they shouldn't be...
Indeed, but all leaflets confuse. You get a leaflet about double glaze and it confuses you if you read it.
Yeah, but it's ramming religion straight down people's throats, isn't it, really?
But did you receive a leaflet?
No, but...
Neither did I. But your girlfriend did. Why?
Because her mother sent them to her.
Right.
Where she got them from, I don't know.
So, the leaflet isn't ramming anything down anybody's throat.
You have the choice to read it, I suppose.
You have the choice. Your girlfriend wouldn't have received such a leaflet if it hadn't have been for her mother. So perhaps it's her mother, if anyone, that's doing the ramming on that occasion.
Yeah, well, really is wrong then, perhaps.
No, it's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with a mother attempting to guide her child. That's part of the responsibility of being a mother. Indeed, that's the point I'm making to you. It's part of your responsibility and your possible future wife's responsibility to have a joint way of bringing up the children, because the children require, if nothing else, some form of consistency. Now, they're not going to get that consistency if the two of you have totally opposite views as to how the child should be brought up. And I think before you start thinking about marriage and thinking about creating children, you need to sort out your beliefs together.
Well, my belief is basically that it doesn't matter...
It's no good telling me, Ian.
Yeah. Well, I believe that it doesn't matter what church you go into to worship, because...
Well, in that case, why would you then object to the children being brought up in the Roman Catholic faith?
Because I find that...
Well, Ian,
everything...
Ian, you're contradicting yourself. You said it doesn't matter, now you're saying it does. You said it doesn't matter which church they go in. Now you're saying it matters. Now, which of those statements is true?
That it doesn't really matter.
Well, if it doesn't really matter, why all the fuss?
But the child should be given the right to choose.
I was brought up as a Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
My father is not a Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
My mother is, in her eyes, a devout Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
My father, when he married my mother, undertook to bring the children up in the Roman Catholic faith.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a lot older, I'm able to choose. I was able to choose from the time when I was able to convince my parents that I'd made the decision rationally and not just to get out of the hassle of going to church and confession and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And so, my father kept his promise, my mother kept her promise, and I was given a decent upbringing, albeit a Roman Catholic upbringing, but I was also given the ability to think for myself.
Yeah.
And that is paramount.
Well, another thing that Bernadette said to me is that the fact that she's had a Catholic upbringing, it makes it very difficult for her to see anyone else's point of view. You have to see...
well, I'm sorry. It does, if you are brought up strictly within the confines of a religious belief, it does affect your ability to see things another person's way. Sadly, that is one of the sacrileges created or committed by many religions, including the Roman Catholic religion, the Jewish religion, the Muslim religion, the Moonies, every religion, including the Church of England. They don't teach tolerance with religion. Religion is anti-tolerance. They give all this garbage about turn the other cheek. Fine. But they actually say, ours is the right way, come and join us. It is changing. We have the ecumenical movement. At the moment, it's predominantly a Christian ecumenical movement within Britain at the moment, and that's a good idea. It's at least developing. But it's not yet gone far enough for me.
Yeah. I also find that all the religious movements that have been brought forward, that exist today, have been created by man and by priests who are actually, they were the people that were guilty for putting Jesus to death. So really...
Well, first of all, you're misinterpreting Bible stories once again.
Yeah.
Certainly, if you are a Christian, you believe that the Christ was put to death by, or let us use the proper term, the Messiah was put to death by the priests of Old Testament Jewish faith.
Yeah.
If you're a Jewish person, you believe that the Messiah has not yet arrived.
Yeah.
So the Messiah wasn't put to death by priests. The Messiah has not come yet. And an impostor was put to death by priests. So it rather depends on your religion, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you believe the Bible at all.
Not very clear at all.
It is clear. It's very clear. It's just they're two contradictory beliefs.
Yeah.
Now, whichever one of those you believe is right. I believe neither is right, because I don't think there's been a Messiah, there's going to be a Messiah, or such a Messiah can exist.
Oh, that's fair enough. Right, thanks very much, Alan.
All right, ta-ra.
Bye-bye.
Johnny, we'll be with you quite soon.
Here's the latest news from John Wilding.
How do, Johnny?
Hello, Alan.
Well, what do you want?
I'd like to talk about fox hunting.
Go on.
Well, do you know how they kill the foxes?
Go on.
Well, why do they kill them so
Well, the foxes must be nervous with all those hounds after him. Can't they just give it a quicker death?
For instance?
Like, just making electric fences over the chickens. Where the chickens can't get out, like they've got a sheet of glass in front.
I think it sounds a rather expensive way of dealing with it, and you seem to be suggesting that foxes only kill chickens. There is evidence, although it's been discredited by the anti-fox hunting lobby, but there is evidence of foxes killing sheep. Now, you're going to put electric fences and glass all the way around sheep fields? It's going to be very, very expensive, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they are quite good at jumping over things, foxes, and digging under things.
But do you know these people who hunt him?
Yes.
Well, don't you think they're a bit mean and they call themselves gentlemen?
Well, they don't all call themselves gentlemen, in the true sense, but yes, they are a bit mean. I think fox hunting is very cruel, and more important than that, I think it's unnecessary. However, you're against fox hunting. You're not going to convince the people doing the killing by saying there's a better way of doing it. What you need to do is to argue that they shouldn't be doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Keep thinking that way anyway. You can't go far wrong, Johnny. Ta-ra. How do David?
Hello, Alan.
Hello, David.
I'd like to talk about computer games being copied.
Then talk about it.
I think that it should be made legal to copy them.
Why should it?
Because they're quite dear to buy in shops, and most people who have a computer can't afford to buy the game.
David, just because something's expensive, and just because people in general can't afford to buy more of it, is no reason for making it legal to take it for nothing. Is it?
Why?
I mean, there are people in this country that can't afford to buy a decent meal every day. Perhaps we ought to make food free. You see, the people that write computer games make their living doing it. And they make their living, and the degree of living they make is based on how many of those computer games they sell. Now, if they sell one to everybody that wants one, they'll have a very comfortable living. If they sell one to every street where 2 or 3 people want one, their income is diminished fourfold.
Yeah.
So when you start writing computer games, or indeed producing any other sort of product of your own, your mind and your view on this will change considerably.
Yeah.
All right.
Right, thanks.
Sure. I'll do, Angela.
Hello?
Hello.
I was thought, scams, don't you?
I know it well.
Yeah. Well, don't you think they're wasting a lot of money on, building things for the concourse and that?
Well, they're certainly spending a lot of money. Why is it a waste of money? Tell me what you mean.
Well, they should be, spending it on new developments for new jobs and...
Well, the people doing the work on the development now have got jobs.
Yeah.
What kind of thing are you suggesting? What thing at the concourse have they got that you think the money could have been spent better?
The pyramids.